Tell me a center today that could stop Shaq, could stop Akeem Olajuwon.
Tell me a center in the 90 that could stop Shaq.
My point, but Akeem Olajuwon.
Okay, but do you think Hakeem or Shaq are stopping Jokic?
Huh?
You think Hakeem or Shaq? No! You're insane!
Wait a minute. You're telling me that his scoring efficiency wouldn't go down if Shaq was on him?
No.
If not, you don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the Generational Beef Podcast. We're glad to have you back. Normal setup this week. We had a really fun week last week. Dad in town for a little bit, March Madness, but we're back to normal schedules. So glad to have you. Got a good episode going today. I'm Tristan, your host, as well as my dad.
Noel Terrell, Generational Beef.
The beef. All right. First off, shout out Chuck Norris. Rest in peace, buddy. Died 5
living
6 days
legend.
Ago. Well, not living anymore, but
still probably. I mean, he's gonna live on in memes forever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just actually a really good guy. Did a lot for the communities he lived in and everything. And
yeah, I saw he was
pretty much badass. So
I saw he's like a 6-time world karate champion or something to that effect. And it's just kind of funny because obviously, he's an actor and he's the biggest meme, but then just to think that he's just actually that dude too.
And he was the first Westerner to be an 8th degree black belt,
which is insane. So he literally is just the legend.
I mean, he literally fought the icon of martial arts, right? And Bruce Lee now on screen,
right,
of course, but
sure.
That's how well respected. I mean, if Bruce Lee's going to fight you, and it actually be a fight, pretty big deal. But all right,
yeah. Anyways, what are we getting into?
Well, so I figured, you were at the tournament in Paycom in Oklahoma City last week. You were there Thursday and Friday, I believe.
Thursday and Saturday, but
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
I know you got to have a really good experience there, especially with a specific fan base. So kind of give us a rundown on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, obviously, we did mention this last week. Neither of us are college basketball fans. We don't watch a lot of it.
I don't think that's fair.
Well,
but I get your point.
We're OU fans. We don't watch college basketball. I'll put it that way.
I used to love college basketball.
No, for sure. But 30 years ago is not today. So
yeah, it's somewhat hard to watch at times now.
So what I will say with that preface, I'm a massive March Madness fan. Obviously, the stakes increase it a lot. It's the best playoffs on the planet. It just is. And so with that being said, I don't know a ton going in, but after the first weekend, I know a lot. I watch a lot, and that's just a normal year. This year I was in person, so that really increases it. I was tuned in. I was tapped in. Man, it was great. I follow it throughout the year. I know storylines to some degree, but I don't know a ton. March Madness is when I really lock in. Oh, man, it was such a great time. It was so much fun. The atmosphere was electric. I will say, I mentioned it in my short that I posted after day one. It's just really cool in that kind of an environment because it's a neutral site where there's no PA announcer going one way or the other. The PA announcer is really just saying out of bounds, X team's ball, or 2 points by such and such, or, this foul, timeout, that kind of thing. There's no, chants led by the PA, anything like that. So it's really just the majority of the time you're sitting there, you're hearing the players yelling, you're hearing the squeaking of the shoes, the ball going through the net. The clanks off the rim are loud. It's hilarious, honestly.
College basketball has a lot of that.
Yes, it does. However, it's just a great atmosphere. And then, as I also mentioned, Nebraska, man, just so impressed with their team also, but their fan base was insane.
Can I say something? I don't know if you saw this.
Okay.
You had texted me that day right when that game was starting and said, these fans are the loudest I've ever heard in Paycom. You told me.
I said it's up there. I said it's up there for sure.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm okay. We've been in Paycom for some loud Thunder games.
Well, and you didn't
right?
go to Game 7 last year against the Nuggets. I
Well,
was there. It was stupid.
But we were in one of the most crazy games in Thunder history that year against the Warriors when Kevin Durant was still with us.
Yeah, 2016.
Steph hit that double overtime 3 from the
absolute
timeline
groan
to win
in the
game.
arena at that moment was
and that place. I've been there for a lot of loud games, but that was one of the loudest. You and I have been to other playoff games that were also really loud. Those Nebraska fans set the all-time decibel record for Paycom.
It's not surprising. It's really not.
Our record was 112. The decibel rating was 115.
That's insane. Like it's not surprising. It's
really
not.
Okay, whatever. No, it's legitimately the loudest crowd that's ever been.
I was so impressed, especially because like they showed the attendance numbers after game 1, right? In the first session, the attendance numbers were 15 and some change. So it wasn't even full.
Short? That's crazy.
Not like 3 short. It's like 18 total.
Right.
But like but it wasn't even completely full. And obviously, while most of them were, they wasn't like 100% Nebraska fans of the people that were in there. So there were probably 13 or 14,000 Nebraska fans as opposed to 16,000 Thunder fans in a normal game because, you got to account for a few fans that aren't Thunder fans. But it's actually absurd, especially because the Thunder fans are being led in all these chants and, the arena, especially in the playoff games, are handing out the little like clapper things and all that. Like they want it to be loud and it is very loud.
I will say there's a part of that too.
The college atmosphere was insane.
Yeah, that's nuts. Obviously, Nebraska, not basketball history, it has sports history, and their fans are, as an OU fan, a little before your time, but that was a huge rivalry when I was growing up.
Of course.
It was that in Texas really, and it was 1A, 1B. I would argue Texas just because it lasted longer. But both were very competitive. So their fan base has always been known to be mostly in football, but it's kind of interesting. And like I said, when you sent me that text, I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But
I was not exaggerating.
Science says it's true.
Yeah. And obviously, like the only thing that was leading their chants was the band because they play their fight song and then at the end of the fight song they chant "Go Big Red," right? But other than that, like they also have other chants. Like it's kind of corny. No pun intended, but pun intended, I guess. It's kind of corny. Their other chant is like Husker Power. And that's kind of like cheesy, whatever. But like,
lame.
Yeah, it is pretty lame. But they just kept going with it over and over, unprompted. They're just like Husker Power. Anyways, it was crazy. It was so freaking loud in
all
there.
Their street cred, they may have just lost with that, but
no. Well, and I even looked at Jacob during the first game because I heard them chanting and I was like, I can tell they're saying Husker, but what are they saying? Please tell me it's not Husker Power. And then we get throughout the day and we look at each other, we're like, yeah, they're saying Husker Power. That's actually stupid. But it worked.
Fair enough.
Oh my gosh. But anyways.
Any other observations overall?
I would say that like the Nebraska team kind of scared me going into the tournament in the sense of like, I know you don't know this, but they started the season 20-0. And then finished the season 6-6, including losing in the second round of the Big Ten tournament. So they kind of went on a skid. And so I was like, and that's why they ended up as a 4 seed. I was kind of like, maybe they're not that great. Nah, they're really good. Fred Hoiberg, terrible NBA head coach. I don't know if you remember him for the Bulls in like the mid,
name
like
sounds
15 to 18. He also played in the league for a while. Anyways, he's been their coach since 2019, and I was like, Fred Hoiberg, he's done a phenomenal job. His son is the starting point guard. He's a senior. And then Price Sandfort is a baller. That dude rains threes. And oh, by the way, great storyline. I don't know if you saw this. You might have. Peyton Sandford, rookie in the NBA, on a 2-way contract for the Blue and the Thunder, made his NBA debut Wednesday night in Brooklyn.
I saw the guy play. I didn't know he was related to it.
Yeah, so he made his NBA debut in Brooklyn. And so because of that, he had been telling his brother all week, he's like, I'm not going to be able to go. I'm flying
you know
with
what?
the team.
I saw that story. I did actually see that story that he made.
He gets on a taxi, makes it home, and then in his team's home arena, watches his brother play in March Madness and get the first win in program history in March Madness. They had made 9 appearances. Nebraska had never won a game prior to that, and now they're in the Sweet 16. So shout out to them.
Did I see it right? 6 of the Sweet 16 or Big Ten?
Them,
Thought I heard
Illinois,
that.
Michigan, um, Purdue. This is bad podcasting because I'm just thinking, but yeah, probably. I mean, that's 4 right there off the top of my head. Let me look
Which
at
is
my.
pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Oh, Michigan State and Iowa. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
More
yeah, no,
importantly,
it's a gauntlet to get through there for sure.
more importantly, OU women Sweet 16. Let's go.
True. But anyways, so yeah, no, just the whole Nebraska thing was really really cool. I will say that Houston looks really good. I watched them in person as well.
Shout out Kelvin Sampson,
Yeah, shout out Kelvin
former OU
Sampson.
head coach.
Um,
Guy, he's looking old, man.
he is
I
old.
guess he is.
But Sanak, their true freshman center, he's 6'11". He's really good. I will say so in the first game, on Thursday in the first round, Texas A&M played St. Mary's, and Texas A&M's tallest starter is 6'7", right? And a G or AG or whatever. I wasn't watching the broadcast, so I don't know how to say his name. But anyways, they played so physically in the first game. They forced like 3 10-second violations in the first half. Like they played so physically against St. Mary's, but St. Mary's center got into early foul trouble, but he's 7 foot tall. Their backup center is 7'2", 285, St. Mary's. And he went like 0 of 5 in that game. And 0 of 4 from the free throw line. Like it got to the point where late in the second half, he was getting guarded by guards down low and was passing out of those attempts because he just had no skill. So what I took from that was that if Texas A&M plays a big that has actual skill, they're just going to get destroyed. And then they played Houston and got destroyed. And the Houston's team,
Yeah,
for
that
the
game
record,
was never
yeah,
that game was never close.
Houston's team, for the record, is just really, really good. But that was a takeaway from it. They have a lot of size. They have a lot of talent. And so they're good on the national stage for sure. Michigan, through the first 2 games, definitely probably looked the best of anybody in the country. They were phenomenal.
You're the only one in my Final Four left in the bracket. But whatever.
Yeah.
Shout out Florida, Kansas, and Gonzaga.
If I had to make a pure pick based on just the 2 games I've seen from each team in this tournament so far, I'd say they're probably the favorite, and that's not surprising. That's what everybody would say right now. I mean, they were so good in the first 2 rounds. I think I would still lean slight Arizona, probably if you twisted my arm. However, the team that I picked to win whenever I filled out my bracket was Arkansas. They're still in it. They have to go through Arizona. So I'm still riding with Arkansas. Darius Acuff has been phenomenal. He's going to be a lottery pick. And then you got Calipari over there coaching.
High Point hung in there for a little while.
High Point did. I mean, it was a very close game down to the end, and it was High Point got some shooters, and that's what I was saying last week. Like that's what my analytic I always look at. It is like whenever I'm picking teams, it's like, do you shoot threes? Do you force turnovers? Do you get out and run? Like, what's your pace? What's your turnover margin? And what's your 3-point percentage? Because at any given day, if you can force turnovers and you can hit threes, you can win any game. And that's kind of what happened with High Point versus Wisconsin, and then almost High Point versus A&M. Like, they just played really well, and that's almost what happened to Nebraska with Vandy. I mean, Tyler Tanner just went absolutely sicko mode, had 27 points, was killing them, and oh my goodness, that shot should have gone down. But hey,
that would have been one of the. It was crazy finish anyway.
Right.
That ball was halfway down, man.
I mean, like I saw a like still shot of it afterwards, and the ball like rim ball, and it's like this shot didn't go in, which is absurd.
It's insane.
It's like
all right, one last thing on college basketball.
Yeah,
maybe the most underlooked story in the country. Lobos are odds on favorite to win the NIT.
Oh yeah,
yeah, they are.
Okay,
they're killing teams.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Is OU still in it, or did we decline to go?
OU declined. They didn't go.
Okay. Well, that's dumb. I hate that. But
Lobos are definitely the best team left in the NIT.
All right.
They are on pace, baby.
I will say, I'm trying to think if there were any other teams I wanted to shout out. St. John's, shout out them and Rick Pitino. Made their first or their first Sweet 16. The last time they made the Sweet 16, USBs didn't exist. So
I mean, look,
that's
he's a
something.
legend.
He's a
He's a
legend.
legend.
Well, and that's kind of what it. I saw a post breaking it down. It's like you got to really feel crazy bad if you're Louisville right now, because traditionally they're a pretty good basketball school. Obviously, he's a big part of that. But like, you fire him, he goes overseas, starts coaching, comes back, coaches at Iona, gets the job at St. John's, a program that literally hasn't been in the Sweet 16 since before USBs were invented, and he made the Sweet 16 again before you did. That's absurd.
I mean, it goes to show you that sometimes you and I have had this conversation in multiple sports before, which is if
Coaching
you're going
means a
to
lot.
fire a historic coach, right? Especially a historic coach at your franchise or team, whatever
Right.
school, better have something better.
Yeah. Now, in fairness to them, to play devil's advocate, there was, the stuff going on with like all the controversies with the
Yeah.
NCAA and how they were like taking away their
Fine.
like 2013 title and whatnot. Like, but at
I
the end of
always
the
think
day,
that stuff is so stupid.
I agree. I agree. So it's
Doesn't
one
matter
of,
if you take it away or not. Everybody's going to know who won the damn thing.
right.
That's all. That's always one of the. Or I'm going to take all your wins away from 2016 to 2018. No, you're not.
Okay, you're
You
vacating
can't.
my wins.
You can
The
change it in
game
the
happened.
record book,
The game happened.
but they happened. Everybody knows it.
Well, it's like the
So
Astros with the World Series, like
yeah,
the
that's stupid.
sign stealing. It's like, oh, should we take away their World Series wins? You can't do that. They
No,
won
because
it,
you can't go back and replay it either.
right,
So
right.
it's done.
Which is
All
why
right.
the MLB didn't do it. But anyways, but that's kind of the thing. It's like well, and that's the other part of it too, is that you see that stuff sometimes in college sports. You never see it in the pros, right? Like
Yeah.
things happen and teams get punished for it because they break rules, but you never see
Yeah.
them like vacate a Super Bowl win.
Well, and you shouldn't. That's
Right,
dumb.
right. Deflategate happens. It's not like they're like, should we take
Don't get me
away
started on
Tom's
that.
Lombardi?
Don't get me started on the stupid Deflategate.
But anyways, but I
I
guess,
don't like the Patriots and I don't like Tom Brady, but that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
but anyways, so yeah, college
They
basketball.
ran it 9 miles in that game.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a great time,
Good.
and boy, I
Merry
love
Christmas.
March. I love March. It was so much fun. I picked VCU in the first round over UNC. That game was electric. It was also really funny because during timeouts and halftime and stuff of our
All
game,
right,
they would
17 minutes into this
yeah
conversation. Okay.
they would put other games on the big board and just like let us watch it for a second. But then obviously once you come out of the break, you take it off so that way you can still use the big board for the actual game. So there were a couple
Yeah.
times where like it was a close game late with like a major upset about to happen, and they would come back from timeout and then they would take it off the board and everybody starts booing like, oh, put it back, put it back. Like, first of all, you're at this game, so they're going to show this game when it's on.
Right.
Second of all, this is 2026. Do you not have an iPhone? Do you not have a smartphone in your pocket? Like, it was
Right.
funny because there would be like 3 rows around me of people when I pull out my phone and put it on my phone, and I hear people behind me. They're like, "Oh my gosh, he has the game on his phone." Do you not have a smartphone? What are we
Well, you were
doing?
saying club level.
I know. I'm like, what are we doing? Anyways, it was just kind of funny. But
All right.
that's all I got. It was great. I'm picking Arkansas the rest of the way. So, all
I'm going to pick Michigan.
right.
That's the only one left in my Final Four.
All right. I mean, that's probably the smart pick, honestly.
Right.
It probably is. They were really good.
It's not who I picked to win. I picked Gonzaga, but whatever.
My other really good team that I really just like right now is Houston. I mean, they're just really good.
I mean, I like Kelvin Sampson. So.
Yeah, but Nebraska's got something special going. Like, it's possible they could just continue it. They're very physical. They're very, very physical.
Yeah,
like,
it's also the kind of team that has a big letdown after a big weekend opening. So we'll see.
For sure. All right, so we can transition. There's not a ton to talk about, but we got a couple bits of NFL news. Obviously, we recorded on Monday last week, so we did miss the Jalen Waddle trade, so we can start there. A first and a third for Jalen Waddle, and we swap fourths.
So I'm neutral on this. I don't like it. I don't hate it. The reality for me is but when the offseason started, and I say the offseason, as soon as we were eliminated from the playoffs, I told you McDaniel has to go, Tua has to go, both of which have now been done. And the other thing I said, as far as I'm concerned, Chop Robinson and Achan are off the block. Everybody else can go. Fire sale, right? Let's rebuild this thing. Let's do it right. I think that's a good defensive piece to build around. And obviously, Achan, I think, is borderline elite at the running back position. And so if either one of those guys goes, I will be pissed.
I mean,
I
there have
don't
been
want to
teams
see that.
to ask about Devon, and we've already
I
said
mean, of course,
no.
teams should inquire.
Right.
I don't
We've
blame
already
any
said
team
no.
trying it. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame any team to try, knowing that we're basically starting over. It's worth a shot, right? Especially at that position. Um, I just think we can build around those guys. They're both keystone type pieces. So I'm happy that hasn't occurred yet. But to me, everybody else was on the chopping block, and I'm okay with that. I like Waddle. Waddle did put up some pretty big numbers. He was also not serious injury prone, but he missed games almost every year, I think. 2-3 games here and there. He wasn't very super durable. At least they weren't serious injuries, but he wasn't overly durable. So like I said, I don't like it because I like him. I don't hate it. We'll see how it goes. JSN, record-breaking receiver contract. Look, Seattle was right to do it. He is elite. We've talked about this before. I think he's 2A or 2B. I put him at A. You put him at B behind Puka, behind Jefferson and Chase, right? And then I think there's a significant gap. And I think we've said this on this show before because we've specifically talked about the Chase Higgins situation and how that's hamstrung that team. The reality is you pay the number one guy, you pay him, but you don't pay a two guy. You can draft
Right.
a guy. If you have a legit number one, like the four guys I just mentioned, they will take enough pressure off the other guy. It doesn't have to be a T. Higgins, right? You can't pay the second guy, but you pay an elite number one. And they did. And it's a
Yeah.
record contract and he deserves it. And, you look at, Jefferson has kind of done it with a hodgepodge of guys. Although Kirk Cousins was still really good when he was playing in Minnesota. So it's not like he didn't have good quarterback play for a bit of his, and obviously Chase has had Burrow for the majority. I know he's had some guys in backup roles. And obviously, we've talked about this to a certain degree. Obviously, Sam Darnold better than everybody thought. But he's the third best quarterback, or in fact, of those top four receivers, he's the worst quarterback.
Well, not worse than what.
When Jefferson had Cousins.
Sure.
I would say Sam Darnold has the potential to be better, but it's still just
Is
2 years.
2026 Sam Darnold better than 2023 Kirk Cousins? That's a good conversation at this point.
He's never put up Kirk Cousins numbers in a season.
It's gotten pretty close.
Kirk Cousins put up huge numbers at times.
Sure, but I mean, like last year, or not last year, the Vikings year, Sam Darnold had 4,000 yards and like 35
There's no
touchdowns.
Question he was the third best quarterback last year out of that group.
Right. Right.
So anyway, it's not a knock on Darnold. I'm just, So JSN deserved the money.
Absolutely.
You got to pay him. You can't let that guy walk. And if you had to choose between him and Walker, they made the right decision.
Agreed. I mean, absolutely. I mean, JSN, like we said, at worst is a top 4 receiver in the league, and Kenneth Walker.
I got him at 3. You got him at 4. But yeah,
sure, might be like the 8th or 9th best running back in the league at a far less valuable position. One that's probably easier to replace at the top level. I would say that like you were saying, if you have the number one, cycling through depth receivers is probably a little bit easier. But in terms of your number one receiver or your number one running back, it's probably pretty easier, a bit easier, especially if you have the quarterback and the receiver in place to replace running back. So, and if you have a good scheme, that's the
I think we're aligned on that signing.
Yeah,
Daniel
for sure.
Jones.
Well, yeah, I mean, we didn't mention Daniel Jones last week because we forgot about him, but ultimately, I said what do you do if you're the Colts if somebody offers him 3-year 90 and you said nobody's going to offer him 3-year 90? Well, he got 88 million over 2 years. He got 88 million over a year less than that, which
I
is
don't think any other team would have.
insane.
That's why I did. So this doesn't make sense for a couple of reasons. You already tagged him. He's not the guy. He's not the type of guy that's going to sit out. I don't think.
No.
He's already had a big contract. Here's the reason you don't do it, right? They were bidding against themselves here.
That's probably
Show
true.
me another team that was going to give him that money. No one. He had half of a great year in his entire career and then got injured.
He was
He
really
had an
good
okay year with Dayball in the 1 year where they barely made the playoffs and won 9 games. I got it.
Yeah, I would say that was a really good year if he had built on that.
He was elite in the first 8 games of last year and then had a catastrophic injury. So you don't do it, first of all, because I don't think anybody else would have given him that money. Second,
maybe not, maybe though.
You're bidding against yourself here. He wasn't a free agent.
Not technically.
Right. You tagged him. Right. Look, here's the only saving grace for the Colts. This is a 2-year deal, which means there's minimal risk. Right. It's a lot. I mean, look, I actually like the guy. I think he has obviously physical skills. He looked really great. He was elite for 8 games last year, or 7 or 8, whatever it ended up being. No question about it. And look what happened to him after. That team was terrible. And he was a part of it. There's no question about it. That sample size isn't a big enough sample size for me to say 88 mil.
Yeah, probably not. I will say, though, that, like you said, it is only a 2-year deal. And at the end of the day, they did look really, really good for those 8 games. Like, borderline best team in the league for those 8 games. And most of that
they came out of nowhere. It was crazy.
And most of that structure is still in place. So then if you do trust Daniel Jones within that structure to be that guy enough, and if he doesn't get hurt, then maybe you win 12, 13 games in a season, and then who knows in the playoffs.
I like him. He's got physical talent.
Yeah. I mean,
look, I don't know.
His career playoff record is 1-1. He's a 500 quarterback in the playoffs.
I think they could have given him 2 years, 66, and he would have taken it.
It's probably true. Now, in fairness, average value, that's still more than the original offer that I threw at you, which was 3-year 90. And
my whole point there wasn't that they wouldn't necessarily do it. My point was they didn't have to, because no one else was going to give him that money.
It's possible, yeah.
No one else was going to do that. They were bidding against themselves. Now, if you wanted to go in here with a contract so he wasn't worried about it, I think you could have done much less. Again, it's minimal risk because it's 2 years. Worst case scenario, he's terrible this year and you got to eat 1 year at $44 million.
Sure.
Right. So it's not, and I don't know how much of that was guaranteed either.
I would assume most of it, just because if he had been playing, on the transition tag, I think all of that's guaranteed, which was 37 and some change, or 38 and some change.
Like I said, it's minimal risk because it's 2 years. I just don't know who they were bidding against because it doesn't make sense.
Sure. Now, I will say that this does have the potential, and I don't know whether it will or not for Colts fans. Hopefully it won't be. For Daniel Jones, hopefully it won't be. This does have the potential chance to be one of the biggest memes of all time, of like, he absolutely just spoofed the team into paying him in the Giants, and then he gets cut, goes to another team, and then absolutely does it again. It'd be so funny.
So here's the other.
It'd be like the Spider-Man meme of like the Colts and the Giants front offices, like freaking stupid.
But here's the other reason. And if you're the Colts, you can't think about it this way. As somebody analyzing the situation, I can.
Sure.
There's possible he comes back and plays great, and they're still the 3rd best team in the division.
It's possible. Absolutely. I mean, now, it's also possible they could run away with it. I mean, there is so much variation in that division. Yeah, like, it could be really good or it could be really bad.
I expect year 2 of Duvall to be great. I really do. He has proven himself to be an amazing coach to do what he did with that group. I expect them to be better. They're not better yet. We'll see what they do in the draft. I don't like that they lost ETN. I'm a fan.
Hey, you got to put some respect on his name and start saying it right. Okay, did you not see that? It's actually kind of
I
hilarious.
did. I just don't remember how to say it. Just tell me. I don't remember.
Achan.
Oh, I thought we were
Serious.
talking about ETN.
We are.
What now?
Achan. That's how you say it.
Like Devon Achan?
But like Travis Achan.
That's how you say ETN?
Apparently. He came out
What
and
are you
said that.
talking? What are you talking about?
No, I'm serious. Like he came out and said that, and everybody was like, "Okay, hold on. He's the all-time leading rusher in ACC history because he started 4 years at Clemson. He was a very, very high pick or high prospect in high school because of that. Um, so in the football mainstream, you've been on the national stage of football media for literally like a
Okay,
decade at this
get to
point,
the point here. I got it.
and never corrected anybody on how to say
I
your
don't
name,
understand how that even.
especially because it wasn't even
How you?
close."
I don't even know how
Well,
you'd pronounce it that way.
he's from Louisiana, so my assumption is that that's like a very like Cajun or
I
whatever
guess.
French something. But
Interesting.
anyways,
Um,
apparently it's Achan.
and then of course you have the Texans, so it's possible they're paying that money and it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely possible.
He
And
can play well and them still be the third best team in that division.
wild card because they got a new coach that I might trust in the right scenario. They got a lot of defensive pieces this offseason. They got some receiver help. And they've got the number 4 pick and may take Jeremiah Love at running back, who's going to be a really good player. The Titans, if Cam Ward is Cam Ward, could be decent.
That division's actually turning out to be really good. I don't think it matters.
It could be, but what I'm saying, but there's also very easy avenues to where we see all these teams be bad. So like this division has a lot
The one I
of.
feel confident won't be is the Jags.
It's possible, but again, they lost Travis Achan, and we'll see how much that matters. BTJ had a very down year too, so we'll see if he bounces back.
Yeah, sophomore slump.
For sure. Did you capture the magic in 1 year, or is it consistent? You got to find out
I think
because
it's consistent. There was so much of what they did. There's two pieces of it. We talked about this before, but one piece was if you get coach right, a lot of things go right. And he took a quarterback, quite frankly, most people had written off as a bust at this point, and he was elite last year.
yeah. And then with the Texans again, like they could be good. That defense is amazing. That offense has
The
the
defense will
blue.
be great. I
Yeah,
just don't know what to make of CJ
the
Stroud.
offense has the blueprint to be good. The offense also has the blueprint that could end up the avenue where you could see it be terrible. So, and then the same thing with the Colts. Like the Colts looked really great for 8 games, but when Daniel Jones comes back, are we going to see that again, or are we going to see Daniel Jones off of an injury, or just normal Daniel Jones? You know what I mean? Like, and so then you don't know. And then again with the Titans,
I
again
mean, I think that's 50-50.
sure, but the
I don't.
Titans are projected to be last in the division. But again, if Jeremiah Love is that good at running back and
I
they
think
take
best
him,
case scenario there are 3.
maybe. But again, if
Let's
Cam
not
Ward
because
is
there's a part that you're not giving credit to here.
okay,
Even if they improve, and even if he's a great running back,
sure,
Jags defense was great last year. The Texans defense was elite, and even the Colts defense was pretty damn good.
sure. But again, what I'm saying is that there are possibilities for all of these teams to be bad. So at any point, any team could rise up. So what I'm saying is keep in mind, right? The year prior, the Jacksonville Jaguars had like the 4th worst record in the league and then won the division.
I know.
So, or no, they didn't win the division. Wait. Yeah, won the division.
Yeah, they won the division.
Yeah, they won the division. So I guess my point is I'm not necessarily expecting that from the Titans, but what I'm saying is that anything is possible. Like,
All right, we'll see.
and there's
All
a
right.
lot of variance in that division. A lot of variance
Enough
possibility.
NFL. There
So,
wasn't a lot of news there. So
but yeah, the last thing I wanted to mention, just because we didn't really talk about it, we talked about the Dolphins side of it, but the move for the Broncos with Jalen Waddle, like you probably weren't going to get a guy, especially this year, that is as impactful as Jalen Waddle will be for you at 30. And then ultimately, you didn't give up any future picks. You gave up a 3rd and then swapped 4ths. Like it really wasn't that big of a deal. You're paying him a lot of money. It's like $28 million or something like that. So that hurts. But I believe more so than Cortland Sutton, he can be a true number 1. And I do believe
I
that
don't know if
Cortland
it's
Sutton.
Sutton can't, but
I didn't say that he couldn't, but I said more so than Cortland Sutton. I think he's a better receiver than Cortland Sutton.
yeah,
Um,
I agree with that.
I believe he can be a true number 1. and I also believe that their play styles complement each other very well because Cortland Sutton's a boundary guy,
The
and Jalen Waddle's more of a slot guy, and he's going to play a lot underneath
the
and be
question mark
very
isn't whether they got good value for the picks. They did. That's not even a
sure.
question. The question mark's still Bo Nix.
No, absolutely, for sure. That's a big deal. But I think that this obviously
Because
helps
what we
because
do know about Jalen's productivity, he
right.
got to have a quarterback. He's not a guy that's going to go out there and carry a team without it.
I think that the possibility is there in the sense of like we never saw. I mean, we saw him be the number one like his first year in the league, and that was with a bunch of iffy quarterback play because we still have Brian Flores, and like the whole thing was a little bit weird. Um, and then after that, we get Mike McDaniel, but then we bring in Tyreek Hill, so we never really saw it. I think that in this scenario, you've got
We
Sean
saw
Payton
it
as a great.
for over half the season last year.
Well, sure, but in a very bad situation, the team was sinking, right? So like, sure, but I would say that you've got a good offensive coach in a team that is good.
There's no
Um,
questioning the value.
yeah,
It's
what
Bo
I'm
Nix.
saying is that they complement each other really well, and then I think whenever you make Cortland Sutton the number two, he becomes one of the better number twos in the league. So I think
Yeah, possibly.
um, it's a good move for them, I believe. So
Yeah. No, I think it is.
that's all I got
Question
there.
mark is at quarterback, not at wide receiver.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We've got our new segment this week once again. Second week in a row introducing a new segment. I'm excited about this one. Let's get ready for buzzer beater beef. So
Buzzer beater
basically,
beat.
we're both gonna bring a topic, hot button topic. Um, you'll start. You'll give me the topic. That's it. Just like say your claim. I'll get a minute to respond. You'll get 30 seconds to rebuttal, and then that's it. And then we'll swap. So
Okay. So long time ago, not long time ago, probably preseason or late last season, I told you the reason the Chiefs will never go on a run like the Patriots went on is because not because of Andy Reid, who I like better than Bill Belichick, not even because of Tom Brady, because Mahomes is Brady-esque in a lot of ways. There's some certain questions there. But the reality is this. The Patriots organization was ruthless. They didn't have nostalgia. They didn't keep people past their prime. They didn't have, sentimental value on players. They let them go. The biggest notable mistake, of course, was Tom Brady. He went on to win a Super Bowl somewhere else. But for the most part, they hit the nail on the head. They did not hold on to players. Kansas City, the new Travis Kelce deal, and let me be fair to Travis Kelce, arguably the best tight end that ever played, definitely the best tight end in the playoffs when it comes statistically. Not a question. He's a great player, all-time player at the position. The fact that they signed him to a 3-year when people were questioning retirement this season, he's definitely falling off. 3-year 57, that's why the Chiefs will never be the Patriots.
so your
Patriots never,
claim.
Patriots never signed that deal. Ever.
Okay. So my 1 minute starts now.
Okay.
Here's where you're wrong. Several things. First of all, not that they will be the Patriots, but first of all, like you said, he is the greatest tight end in the history of the sport, and and he at this point is still. I mean, look at the numbers, everything. He's still production a top 5 to 6 tight end in the league. Like he's still really really good. And yes, a lot of this contract value is like retrospective. It is based on your legacy, right? He is still a productive tight end. He is still a benefit to their offense. And moreover, this really is still just a 1-year contract. He's getting 12 million or so this year. And then in 27 and 28, they are minimum contracts. The only kicker where all the value comes in from that contract is a $40 million roster bonus in 2028. So if he's still on the roster, then we don't even know. Like you said, contemplating retirement. He may be there, he may not. Even if he is there, because it's a roster bonus, it won't hurt the cap. So that's where you're wrong. And I do believe that not so much this year, possibly, but they still have a chance to do some crazy things. So I'll give
Rebuttal,
you, I'll give
easy.
you,
I don't need it. Patriots never signed that deal. They never did it. Period. That's the
All right.
difference.
All right.
He'd be toast if he was a Patriot.
All right. So my claim, I'm going to switch topics a little bit here, go NBA. My claim is specifically with the legacy of players, but also just in general in the sport. We've seen since the last time the Warriors won a title, and it might change this year, it might not. We've seen 7 consecutive years of a new champion. I can't think of off the top of my head any time in the sport where that's happened. Like, even if it's not consecutive years, you might have a different team win one year, and then the year after, a team that just won a couple years ago wins. I can't think of a time in the history of the sport where 7 consecutive years with just different champions.
I don't think it's happened.
It probably hasn't. Like, it's crazy what's happening right now. So to that point, the league is more skillful, just overall players than it ever has been at any point in the
That's
history.
an opinion, but fine.
It's part of my claim, but it's just true. But whatever. It's more skillful than it ever has been. My claim is that because of all these reasons, because of how roster construction is a lot harder at this point, a single ring at this point in history is more valuable now than it ever has been in the history of the sport. Go.
Well, first of all, some of your premise is just wrong, right? Some of the stat leaders in all-time history in the major categories all played in the Jordan era. There's no way to look at it today and say they're more skilled. Are there some better shooters from 3? Sure. That's it. It didn't. The overall athletics isn't better. Go look at this. Look at the centers now and compare them to centers in the 90s. So first of all, that premise is just wrong, right? At worst, they're the same athletic talent and the same basketball talent. I don't even think that's necessarily true. There are some better shooters now because the game has changed, but the premise is just false from the get-go. The second part of that is I don't necessarily think that's true. I just think that there's been a lot of things. I think that's about to change because of the way the new structure, now that we've left the super teams, right? The new structure lends itself to some dynasties to be reinvented. I think the Thunder, if they don't do it this year, they're definitely not just going to get one. I think they're going to do it this year, but they're going to be one of those teams. I think the Spurs are right behind them. I think that's going to be a long-standing rivalry.
All right, I'll give myself a little 30-second rebuttal here. I think that, first of all, to think that time goes by and people don't just get more skilled, I think is just wrong. It's not just shooting. And
they weren't playing in the 90s and are more skilled.
Hold on. This is my 30 seconds. You don't get to interrupt. First of all, you said center specifically. Name a better center in the 90s than Nikola Jokic. Stop. Or Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, pure talent. I get injuries. Joel Embiid, pure talent, is just as skilled as anybody that's ever played the position. Seriously.
He has missed many games.
Okay, I said injury. Yeah, that's something. But my point is, there is more skill now than there ever has been, and I do just believe that overall, the way that the rosters are constructed, it's just harder now to win a ring, and that's what we're seeing. Yes, parity, but it's just harder to win a ring. Therefore, I believe the ring now is more valuable.
Go back to one more thing.
Okay.
Tell me a center today that could stop Shaq, could stop Akeem Olajuwon.
Tell me a center in the 90s that could stop Shaq.
My point, but Akeem Olajuwon.
Okay, but do you think Hakeem or Shaq are stopping Jokic?
Huh?
You think Hakeem or Shaq? No! You're insane!
Wait a minute. You're telling me that his scoring efficiency wouldn't go down if Shaq was on him?
No.
If not, you don't know what you're talking about.
He's the single most efficient scorer in the history of the planet, basically.
I'm not saying he wouldn't score, but it would be inefficient. We did it to him last year with Caruso guarding him.
Maybe on a singular game basis, but not in overall entirety. What I'm saying is
you wouldn't play Shaq every night.
No, obviously, but my point is that if Shaq, Jokic, Embiid, and Hakeem all played at the same time, I think they would all be just as good as we know them now.
Okay, then my point is there was just as many good centers as there was then.
But my point is that overall talent in the league today is just higher than it was then.
It's
always improving. And
no, there's no proof of that.
And hold on. And lastly, you said some of the best record holders and whatever were from then. It's because the guys playing today haven't played long enough to have the records. They will by then. 20 years from now.
Who's going to break John Stockton's assist record?
Nobody. That's never happening.
Guess what? Michael Jordan played him in the finals twice.
Okay, but John Stockton isn't even like a top 5 passer of all time.
He
Pure
got a lot
talent.
of this.
Okay, but pure talent. He's not even
Just
like
saying.
that's a longevity stat.
Oh,
Like
like scoring
sure,
when you play 23 years
it's a longevity stat
like
for sure.
that.
It's a longevity stat.
Okay. Uh-huh. Interesting.
He played like 9 consecutive 82 game seasons or something like that. Or actually, it's like 15 or some
Mm.
stupid number like
I
that.
mean, how many 82 games seasons has LeBron played?
He doesn't need to.
1 out of 23.
He doesn't need to. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
He's all about the fans.
that's definitely not true, but whatever. We
Yeah.
can go to the NBA.
Thought we were
Let's.
already there.
Well, that was our buzzer beater beef. Great segment there. Got a little bit heated for a second. Anyways, let's go to our.
When you make ridiculous claims, that's going to happen.
It wasn't ridiculous. Anyways,
You could have gone anywhere with that, but you went so much more skilled, obviously. Whatever. It's ridiculous.
anyways, J-Dub came back last night. He looked really, really good. I would say mostly just his motion.
He did miss the dunk, which I hope Hart gave him a hard time for, because when he missed that free throw to get the triple double, J-Dub was definitely giving him a hard time in the post game with Gallo. And in fact, Hart, he would turn around to him and go, "Do you even play anymore?" In the game last night, he missed a dunk, which was pretty funny.
I will say that his motion looked pretty fluid, and that was like the big thing that I was looking
his
for.
passing was there.
Yeah.
He looked ready to go.
A couple other things I will say kind of similar to that is obviously Nick Gallo post game was talking to Dub because first came back, and he was asking him stuff like, "Hey Dub, like first game back, how are you able to come in and play like you did with missing so much time and leading the team in assists and all that kind of stuff?" And he's like, "Well, it's really easy to do my job whenever the guys around me are as good as they are, and like we all." And he literally
Big
said,
Will is just on a run right now.
And he literally said that too. He was like, right now I feel like I'm the guy. I'm the guy getting an A on the group project for not doing anything. So I mean, he was making fun of himself, just like Hart did. He was like,
Well, I mean, it's part of
I
what
don't
makes
even
the team special.
play.
None of them takes themselves too seriously, including FGA.
Well, and the funniest part too was he was like talking because Jared McCain was right there too, and obviously it was his kind of like homecoming in Philly, and he was like, so how does that work? Like, Jared McCain, he had a pretty good game off the bench, scoring some, and he was like, you had kind of that dagger pass to him in the fourth quarter and whatnot. And he was like, and Dub was like, yeah, I mean, just giving him a chance in his homecoming, back at the crib to put out and show out in front of these fans, like big deal for him. I know how that feels. So like, you want to show out for the crowd, and Jared McCain was like, yeah, thanks for that. And then Nick Gallo, you remember the pass that was actually a sick play where I think J Will had it top of the key, bounce passes it to Dub cutting, and then he like throws it behind him baseline to McCain in the corner.
Yeah.
So Nick Gallo asked him specifically about that play. He was like, and then that pass you had late to McCain, and so he looks at McCain and he's like, I had an assist to you tonight. And McCain looked kind of confused too, and then Gallo described the play, and then they both kind of like lit up, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, that play was sick!" and then dapped each other up. So it's just the team's just fun. They're just cool. They look good. I'm not worried about them. We won 12 in a row now. We just do this. So I don't want to get cocky, but like it's hard not to. So
we can come back to Thunder in a bit.
Yeah,
Detroit. I mean, Cade's out indefinitely.
It's a big problem.
Are they over?
I would say so. They're actually this season 8-2 without Cade, right? However, that doesn't mean anything.
Those games against?
I don't know. Most of them probably not great. However, I do think that's really dumb because they were showing that. I was at work earlier and they were showing that on the TV screen, like whatever channel it was, probably ESPN, I think. It was like 8-2 without Cade. That's an 800 winning percentage, which would be the best in the league. Like, yeah, duh. It's a 10-game sample size. Shut up. That's stupid. Anyways, so
in general, they're terrible when he's not on the court.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of hard to watch, and so that's the other part of it too. Is like you have to look at how it looks. Like, yeah, maybe you're scraping by these dubs, but at the end of the day, if I'm trying to evaluate how good you are as a team, I'm gonna look at how good I feel like you look, and they just don't look good without them.
I
And,
mean,
and,
I had
and
already taken him out of my top 5.
agreed,
This
me too.
obviously keeps that,
They
but
just don't have it there yet, and Cade out indefinitely. I think it was like a collapsed lung or a punctured lung or some scary something. Um, that sucks, man. It really sucks.
yeah, well, and it's a scary thing too, right? It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, for sure.
This
Got to feel
this injury
for
isn't so much about basketball as making
right.
sure you get that right. So,
Got to feel for Pistons fans. Got to feel for Cade, obviously having an
I mean, I
incredible
don't think they
season.
were a
And
contender anyway yet. We
no,
talked
but
before, but it's not the way you would have had hope going into the playoffs if he was available, right?
yeah. And honestly, if the season ended today and they ended up as the one, and assuming Cade doesn't play, and the Hornets are the 8 seed, right?
Oh, I'd
If
pick the
Cade
Hornets.
doesn't, if Cade doesn't play, I'd pick the Hornets. Like
I might do it anyway.
I don't know that I'd go that far, but like if Cade doesn't play, I
They
definitely
are
would pick the
so
Hornets.
scrappy. They are so fun to watch.
They're fun. They're fun.
They are they
Um,
are they are a really fun team to watch. I can't believe
yeah.
I'm saying,
In
but they
other
are.
news, also the Bucks right now are just insane. They're stupid, dude. Like the Bucks suck, obviously. But then also they were trying to talk about shutting down Giannis. They're like, "Hey, we want to shut down Giannis for the year," and then Giannis came out and was like, "No, I want to play." And he's Giannis, and so they're literally just like beefing with each other in front of the whole public eye and in the media.
I don't know why
And
he keeps signing there.
yeah, I mean,
I
probably
get
for
he
the
got a ring there. I got it.
he loves the city, he loves the community, and I
And
think
that's fine. It's a
I think
one-off, though.
more
His
so than
greatness got him a ring.
more so
And
than
get another
not
one.
more so than not, I do believe the organization mostly has done right by him. Anytime that he has threatened to leave,
Money-wise,
well, anytime he's threatened to leave or whatever, they have made moves and they have.
but none of that's worked out.
Well, I mean, that's ultimately what got them the title. They traded for Drew Holiday and won a title.
I know it
And
worked. They got lightning in a bottle, one
well, not lightning in a bottle. They had a really good team, but then after
for
that,
a year.
it stopped working, and so then they traded for Dame, and that looked really good whenever they were on the court. But Dame
This
wasn't
is what
healthy.
happens
Giannis
when there's
wasn't healthy.
desperation. If you're the Bucks at this point,
Sure,
Giannis is an all-time player,
absolutely.
right? No one's arguing that. But at this point, you got to, as a team, if you're a well-run organization, say we could keep grasping at straws, we could keep throwing draft capital away, we could keep doing
Yeah,
all this stuff to try to get it done with him, or we could get a shit ton out of him
yeah.
and start over, which is where they should be.
I agree with
I
that.
mean,
I do.
look at a good equivalent was when Presti said, "Look, we're not where we need to be, Russ. I don't want you to have to go through this.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to get you out of here for your own
Yeah,
good." Now, I don't know that it ended up long term being in his own best interest,
for a
but
couple
we got a
years, I
lot
think
for
for
that.
sure.
Yeah, in Houston, it was fun to watch. Oh,
And in
he's been fun to watch the whole
Washington,
time. I actually want to talk about him a little bit in a minute, but
okay.
I just think that's what they should be doing with Giannis right now. This trying to cling to him isn't doing anything for him, and it's
I
not doing anything for the
I
team.
get it in the sense of like you're a smaller market and you've got this superstar and he did win you a ring and he does have 2 MVP awards. He's an all-time great, and ultimately he's like probably your best player in franchise history, which is really saying something considering they had Kareem
Mm,
at a point.
I mean, I
It's
don't think we could put him over Kareem yet, but
not all time, but for the Bucks specifically, right?
yeah,
You got to
that's
think
fair.
he
That's
had one ring, one MVP
that's fair.
award, and not even like a third of his points with the Bucks, right?
That's
So
fair.
for the Bucks, I think it's close.
Yeah,
I'm not
obviously.
gonna fault you if you go either way. I think I'd personally take Giannis, but I think it's really close. Um, but definitely he's the best thing that they've had since then, obviously. And that was the early 70s, right? So like it's literally been 50 years of nothing for the Bucks and their fans. So I get it. But also like you said, if you want any chance to rebuild even remotely
What's your
soon once
goal?
he leaves,
If your goal
right?
is just to put butts in seats
You gotta trade
sides
him
of
and
his
not let him
career,
walk.
if
And
your goal is just to put butts in seats, keep him. If
yeah,
you want to try to rebuild and win and get something for him of value,
yeah.
it's now.
Now the
I get we're
other
past the trade deadline. I got to wait for the offseason, but you know
right.
what I
The
mean.
other thing I would like to at least consider Obviously, just because of the assets and everything, we will always be a conversation if a star comes up, right? Especially with a guy like Giannis when we play defense the way that we do and whatever. I don't we didn't make the trade, obviously, at the deadline when people said we could have, and I didn't think we were going to, and I don't necessarily expect it. However, in 2016, the Warriors went 73-9. They were phenomenal. They lost the finals, and they probably could have run it back and maybe still won it anyways. It would have been close, but maybe they could have won it anyways, running it back. And then they went and got Kevin Durant. They gutted the depth to have the cap space and went and got Kevin Durant. If we were to lose in the playoffs this year, is there a possibility of some sort of a move like that?
It's not
I'm not
Presti's
saying
stuff.
would you want it?
So there's two things to keep in mind, right? The first thing is that was not a trade. That was
But
a
they
free
still had to
agent
gut. They
signing.
still had to gut the depth to get the cap space.
That's fine, but in a trade scenario, you have to give up a lot of it too, right? You have to give up the equivalent salary.
They gave it up anyways, is what I'm saying.
Look, depth-wise, they didn't give up starters. The only way that trade works with us is you got to give up a starter or two.
But again, with our depth, we have guys that would be starters on 80% of the league.
You have to give up something like that to get him.
Sure.
So it's
no matter what you gave up, unless it's Shea, you're getting a better player back.
I understand that, but chemistry, there's a lot of other factors here.
No, absolutely. I'm not saying it would be the better.
It's different with cutting your depth than cutting your starters. Right? Now, here's the thing. Presti's not a knee-jerk reaction guy. Presti has a plan. Presti's sticking with the plan.
For what it's worth.
Hold on. If we don't go back-to-back, that doesn't mean anything. The team is still in a fantastic spot. Now, what I could see happening, and it would depend on how this all goes down at the end of the year, on how passionate, one way or the other, I would be on it. We have 3 guys on this roster. 3 guys that are starters in this league that are on our bench. It's just a fact. We are very depth. I think there's a lot of value in those guys. I don't want to get rid of any of them right now. Here's what I will say. Win or lose the title, Dort is not on this roster next year.
Absolutely.
Right? They're going to trade him before we have to sign him again.
2 of the 3
I've said this before. Presti learned a lesson with Durant. I don't ever let a contract expire if A, I don't plan to re-sign them at what they're going to want, or B, I'm not sure they're going to sign here. Dort is not on this roster next season. And it's not that I don't love Dort and he's an elite defender. He's offensively. He gets hot sometimes. But Wallace, Wiggins, Mitchell, they're all better than that. And McCain now. We have 4 guys on the bench that are not better defenders, but they're great defenders, and they're way better offensively.
I would say Kaysen is a great defender. I don't think that any of the others are great defenders. I think the other ones are pretty good.
They're really good in the system.
Sure.
And they're way better offensively.
Yes.
So, Dort's not on this roster next year.
Absolutely.
I think we will trade him.
I think 2 of the 3
before the season, definitely by the deadline. I think it'll happen before the season.
I think
win or lose. I think that happens. Win or lose.
Going into next year, 2 of the 3 of Lou, Hart, and Caruso will not be here next year.
Look, I don't want to see Hart go. The injuries bother me. I don't.
Well, hold on. He's also
see a way you let Caruso go.
Well, next year, Hart is also going to be on the last year of his contract. And that's why we drafted Thomas Sorber. He didn't play at all this year, obviously ACL tear, but that's why we drafted Thomas Sorber last offseason, was to allow him to be the Hartenstein replacement eventually. So I do believe that
Hart. It'll be hard to see him go.
Yeah,
just like Dort. I don't want to see Dort go either.
Absolutely. I mean, me as well.
Dort,
I mean,
he's the longest tenured Thunder player right now.
Yeah.
But to your point, if we get a guy that can do what he can do, then I'm good with that. I would not want to see Caruso go. He was so
me either necessarily, but again, it's one of those things.
I know he's not the starter, but he was critical to the title.
Absolutely, no, absolutely.
You could argue in the playoffs, take SG out of SGA out of the mix for a second, you could argue in the playoffs he was the most valuable player outside of SGA. Outside
Stop.
of SGA,
Dub and Chet.
they both had flashes where they were good. They weren't consistent.
Chet's defense was phenomenal the whole playoffs. His offense was in flashes.
I'm
And then
just
same thing
saying,
with
you
Dub.
know as well as I do, there were times that Caruso came in that game and he changed it.
Absolutely, for
He
sure.
was a game wrecker last year in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
He was
Outside of the
guarding
three,
Jokic effectively
outside of the
in
three
that
of
game wrecker.
those, outside of the three of those guys, would he be the most valuable player in that playoff run? Absolutely. I can't put him above any of those three though. But I do believe, and like I said, that's why I said 2 of the 3. I don't know exactly what 2 of the 3 it is, but I do believe 2 of the 3 of Lou, Hart, and Caruso will not be here next year.
All right. But
So
to answer your question, no, he would not do that, and I don't want him to.
I don't necessarily think so either, but nobody would have thought Bob Myers would have made the reaction to go get Kevin Durant either, and he did until he did. So I mean, they were a very
Or they still
homegrown.
understand Presti.
Sure, but they were a very homegrown team as well before that. So
I know, but then he panicked. Presti won.
well, I would say panicked, but then they went into won 2 more rings, so it worked.
I mean, I get it, and I don't know that they would have without him.
Sure.
This team is built to win. It just is.
I mean, so I think the 73-9 Warriors were also pretty built to win.
Yeah, they didn't win the title that year.
And they won it the year before, and then they won the next 2 after.
So 73-9 is irrelevant.
Sometimes you got but sometimes you got to tweak things. Is my point.
Well, tweak things isn't bringing in Kevin Durant.
Well,
That's not a tweak.
It was a tweak that worked.
It's not a tweak. That is a borderline overhaul. When you bring in that caliber of guy,
I'm not going to say overhaul. You didn't lose Steph, Draymond, or Clay, but
you brought in an MVP player.
Yeah,
that is not a tweak.
Obviously, the word tweak was a joke, but my point
Caruso and Hartenstein is a tweak.
Yeah, absolutely. But my point is that sometimes you got to make changes.
If we lose this year, you don't do that.
I don't think we will. I'm just throwing out the I think that the odds of it or the possibility of it goes up exponentially if we lose this year. If we win, there's no chance of it. But if we
still doesn't, Dort's gone regardless.
I don't think
we're not bringing in another big time player.
But the odds obviously are much higher of happening if we lose than if we win.
Is it higher if they're both 0?
Well, no, I would say 0. I would say that if we lose, it's not 0. That's what I'm saying.
It's 0. That's not Presti style. Anyway, let's do our top 5 real quick and then we'll be done.
I will say we've got teams that we mentioned before and whatnot in our honorable mentions. The only other one I want to put in an honorable mention, since like March 4th compared to now, Shea has gone from -200 to win MVP to -900, so his odds have grown. However,
he's winning the MVP.
Yeah. However, second place has gone from +10,000 to +1,000, so his odds have also dramatically grown in Luka Doncic. He's not going to win it, but my point is that over the last month, I mean, they just lost again, but they went on a 9-game winning streak, which is the longest winning streak for that team in 6 years. They went on a 9-game winning streak. Luka Doncic in that time was averaging 49 and 8. He has been stupid. And I don't necessarily expect it to hold up in a 7-game series, especially not against us. So they are a tough cut for me, but I do believe that the Lakers do deserve to be mentioned at this point. I mean, their month of March was just phenomenal. So that's a tough cut for me, I will say, as well as other teams we've already mentioned. But I will say in my 5 seed, I'm still going to go with the Cavs. They haven't done anything since the last time we talked about this to necessarily drop them or raise them for me. I don't believe, like I said in the last time, I don't believe that I said that they were at the time my favorites in the East. I don't believe that they're my favorites in the East now, obviously. But they're still a really good basketball team. So that's what I got. The Cavs. The Cavs.
Okay.
That's in my 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Who's your 5?
Run through your list. I'll run through mine.
No. Let's go one by one. Who's your 5?
Denver.
All right.
they've dropped for me. They are not looking good right now. Jokic is uncharacteristically turning the ball over. Do I think they'll work their way out of it? Probably. I think they'll be fine in the playoffs, I think, but they're doing some uncharacteristic things, and Jokic is doing some very uncharacteristic things right now, and that concerns me. They still have him, so I'm not taking him out of my top 5 right now,
Sure.
but they've dropped because I think I had him at 2. They're at
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. All right. Who's your 4?
So it's tough. Um, I'm gonna so let me talk about my dark horse who I don't have in. You talked about yours a little bit.
Okay.
Um, I still have the Clippers in that category. They're solidly in the 8 seed right now. They haven't been as good over the last 10 games. I think they're 6-4. Kawhi is still playing at an elite level. Kawhi. Um, I would not want to play them as an 8 seed. I would
Absolutely.
still feel confident in our outcome.
Sure.
I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it. So
Maybe this is just a bias of me not wanting to play them in the first round, but I hope they win the first play-in game, get to the 7 seed because Kawhi returning home to San Antonio for a playoff series, that movie would
that would
feed
be sick.
families, communities. Oh
That would
my
be sick.
goodness. That would be
That would be
so insane. Anyways,
um
part of that's also
so
just my bias of not wanting to play them in the first round, but
yeah. My 4 right now, it's weird because I'm gonna go ahead and put an Eastern team in here. Um, I don't believe in them, but there's some possibilities there. I'm gonna go ahead and put the Cavs in at 4.
okay. That's fair. So my list so far for you is just reverse. I put the Cavs at 5. I'm putting the Nuggets at 4. Similar to what you said, they just haven't looked good. They've been uncharacteristic. It's been weird. Obviously, you're still going to respect them, put respect on their name. They have Nikola Jokic, and at the end of the day, that can win you a ring. It's probably not going to this year, but it definitely can. So I've got them at 4. Um, there's not a ton much else to say about them. They've been skidding recently. Jokic has been inefficient. I really, really did consider putting the Cavs at 4 and then the Lakers at 5, and leaving the Nuggets off of the list. But I can't do that. They have Nikola Jokic. So until otherwise, get to April and we'll find out, right? But they've got Nikola
Fair
Jokic. So
enough.
at 3, I assume we probably have the same 3. Maybe we have 2 and 3 flip. But at 3, I've got the Celtics. After they lost to us, they went on a 5-game winning streak. They did lose on Sunday, again for the first time since they played us, to the
We get to play them tomorrow
Timberwolves.
night
Yeah, we play them again tomorrow night in
in
Boston.
Boston. Yep.
But Tatum has played in all those games. Since Tatum came back, he's been averaging 19, 8 boards, and like 3.5 assists. And to me, he's been kind of like Dub was when he came back. He's been very inefficient. He just hasn't played basketball in 10 months. Like that can be expected. He's been very inefficient scoring wise, but he's done everything else really well. He's in that 5-game stretch. I think he led them in rebounding 3 different times. And he's also playmaking for them. He even if he's not getting the assist, he's setting up play, and he still plays really good defense. His movement is looking not great, but pretty good. And he's still got another 2 weeks to get into game shape for the playoff, 2.5, 3 weeks, to get into playoff
Yeah,
shape
it's like, what,
in
11 games
game.
left, I think.
Yeah, so
Ballpark.
I'm not all that concerned about it. I do think that come a 7-game series, there depending on how he looks, by then there are ways that you could maybe scheme to make him less effective. If you're a good team, but I just don't think in the Eastern Conference specifically, there's that many teams that would be able to do that in a matter that is that effective, especially considering they also still have Jaylen Brown. So they're my 3
Yep.
right now.
So my 3 is the Spurs. Two
Okay,
reasons. First reason, in order to win a title, we can't be there.
sure.
My number 2 can be there if we're there, right? So first of all, I'm saying that. The
Both of
other
them would still
reason
have to
is
beat us in that scenario, but yes,
understood, but if you don't get there, you can't do it. So
sure.
I'm putting them there partially because the numbers don't work, right? You can't put them at 2 if we're 1 because if you don't get there, you
Still
can't win it.
can.
I
In the last
understood,
one,
but
we both had the Nuggets at 2, so
I actually think the Spurs are a better team right now.
agreed.
However, again, it would take the Spurs and Wemby to do something that has never been done in order for it to happen, which is to go on a deep playoff run into the finals your first year in a playoffs as the main guy. And that's never occurred. And I don't see it starting with Wemby. Nothing against him. I just don't. So I got them at 3.
If there ever was a guy. If there
There's been
ever
a lot
was
of
a guy.
there's been a lot of guys.
If there ever was a guy. Anyways, um, that's fair. Like I said, with
All right, number 2. You already gave your thing about number 3.
yeah. My number 2 is the Spurs. I just think that they're the second deepest team in basketball. I think that they have the probably third or fourth best player in the league. And I think that their best player also has the possibility, like you said, to do something that's never been done before. Am I betting on it to happen? No. Am I picking it to happen? No. But if it happened, would it shock me at this point? No. And I've been saying literally the whole year before they went on their hot streak, before they got to the point where they were the number 2 seed. I've been saying all year, I was like, there is just the one X factor of what if we get to a playoff series and Victor Wembanyama is just the best player. And I don't expect that to happen, but I've been saying that all year. I was like, what if it happens? And I don't expect it to, but it could. And it kind of
So,
terrifies me, low key.
obviously, my 2 is the Celtics. I was already telling you this before Tatum came back that I was picking the Celtics to win the East. Obviously, with Tatum coming back, even at 75% Tatum, they're my pick to win the East. And if you can make it to the game, you got a better chance than everybody else in this list. And they can. I am picking them to get to the finals.
Sure,
So
that's fair. I just think that for me, like you, I think you kind of agreed to it. I do believe the Spurs are a better team. I believe that right now, if you asked me, I would give the Spurs a higher chance to beat us than the Celtics. I don't think either one of them are beating us. I'm not picking it to happen, but what I'm saying is they're my 2 because I think they have a better chance to beat us than the Celtics. I think if we get past the Spurs and the Nuggets, we're winning
but
it
we
all.
may not even play the Spurs.
It's possible. Well, so for sure, if depending on how the bracket ends up, like there's a chance that I don't know, because the Nuggets are kind of sliding right now, which is a little bit scary because then we might have to play them in the second round and the Spurs in the conference finals. Anyways, there's a lot to shake out, but assuming that the 3 teams in the West are the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Nuggets, right? One thing is true is that in order to get out of the West, one avenue would mean you have to beat 2 of the 3, and the other avenue means you have to beat 1 of the 3. So just depends on how the bracket shakes out.
Look, there's also 2 teams that are going to be in the playoffs in the West that because of their best player on both teams, you can never count them out. I don't expect them to go on a run.
I think there'd be
You
3
can't
teams
count
in
out
that
a Kevin Durant
conversation.
team.
Oh.
I'm just saying
yeah.
you can't count them out.
No. Okay. I thought you
then
said I'm gonna count out a Kevin Durant team. Anyways,
No.
sorry,
I'm
I
saying you
misheard you.
can't, and you
Yeah,
can't with what Ant has done in the playoffs. You can't count him out either.
it's very disrespectful not to put Luka Doncic in that conversation as well. But
They don't play any defense. He scored 19 points against us this year on like 25% shooting. If we take him out of the game, which we can do, if the Spurs take him out of the game, which they can do, they aren't winning it. They got no chance.
Anthony Edwards has never beat us in a playoff series.
I know,
Luka
but
Doncic has.
he's been into the conference finals last 2 years.
And 1 year he lost to us, and the year before that, the team that beat us beat him too, which had Luka Doncic on it.
That team is not the same team that he's on now.
No, but I
It's
think
not
that
near as good.
I think that's
He was the best player on that team, offensive player on that team.
I do believe.
Here's the thing: the Lakers, and this is not trying to be. Look, in some ways, I am being disrespectful to Luka on purpose.
Okay.
He is hard to watch. There will be times where they're behind in a game, and he's complaining a call when it's 4-on-5 at the other end. He's ridiculous. Is he an elite offensive player? Absolutely. In some ways, like we've rarely seen in this league. Not going to argue it. He plays so little defense, though. He is a liability at some point. And here's the reality.
Well, in the playoffs, that's definitely not true. He locks in.
Let me finish. If they play a team like us, like the Spurs, right, where they have lockdown defenses, they can't win because you can make Luka inefficient.
Sure. You can make Anthony Edwards
do
inefficient.
anything but they can't do anything to you.
They
won't be able to stop us.
I mostly agree to
We
that
will
statement.
slow them down.
I mostly agree to that statement, but I have two caveats. All I'm saying is, right, I don't actually put the Timberwolves or the Rockets or the Lakers in my contenders right now. But what I'm saying
I don't either.
What I'm saying is, you said you can never count out a Kevin Durant team and you can never count out an Anthony Edwards team. To not then say you can never count out a Luka Doncic team is disrespectful.
And plays defense.
Kevin Durant doesn't at this point in his career?
Not at this point.
Well, but you're still not counting him out at this point. We're not talking 2017 Kevin Durant.
I just said I'm not making him a contender.
I'm not saying the Lakers aren't either. But what I'm saying is to lead with, because of their best player, these two teams can't be counted out, and then not also put the Lakers there is absurd. Because
those other two teams at least have some other talent on that team. The Lakers roster is terrible, including LeBron James.
Well, LeBron James is not terrible. He's a good basketball player. He's not.
Have you watched any of the games recently?
Yes.
He just stands there unless he has the ball.
But what I'm saying is,
and defense.
He's
terrible.
He's not a terrible basketball player. I mean, that's an absurd statement.
$4 million a year to stand on the court.
I'm not talking the value proposition. The value proposition right now doesn't matter because you can't change your roster. So what I'm saying is, today, he is not a terrible basketball player. Is he the Lakers' best player? Obviously not. Is he?
You know what Kevin Durant wouldn't do? Stand at the end of the court arguing with the ref while his team's trying to play 4-on-5 defense.
I mean, that's not actually how that happened 97% of the time. But occasionally, not actually normally.
Do you know why he leads the league in techs? Because he bitches the entire game. It's hard to watch.
Now, for what it's worth, his last one also just got rescinded. It wasn't a real tech, but sure. Anyways, do you know what the difference in points allowed per game is between the Lakers and the Timberwolves?
Don't care.
It's 0.4 of a point. The Lakers allow 114.9. The Timberwolves allow 114.5. So there's not really a difference there. Like, obviously, the Timberwolves defense is better. Yes. But the difference is not as drastic as you make it out to be. And what I'm saying is, all I am concluding here is that if you want to make the conversation, and I'm okay if you don't even want to talk about them because they're not real contenders.
It would be Timberwolves Nuggets or Timberwolves Nuggets, and it would be Lakers Rockets.
Okay.
I'd pick the Rockets.
It'd be close. It'd be close. But again, I think that ultimately
we're at an hour and 20.
Sure, but ultimately my analysis of that series literally would be, it wouldn't matter about the teams because I think that both teams are very flawed. It would literally be, which player is going to be better, Luka Doncic or Kevin Durant? And I don't have the answer necessarily, but what I'm saying is that if you want to talk about just the best player being a possibility for winning a ring or being a possibility for doing something in the playoffs with Kevin Durant and Anthony Edwards, you have to put Luka Doncic in that conversation because right now he is a better basketball player than both of them, especially over the last month. I mean, he's averaging literally 49 and 8. He's been stupid.
Who's he played? He hadn't played us.
Okay, you play us 4 times. It's not like you can have a great stretch of basketball and not play the best team in the league, and it still is credible. Like, they went on a 9-game winning streak. Anyways, all I'm saying is that Luka Doncic is incredible. Luka Doncic is...
He's an incredible offensive player.
He's an incredible basketball player. I mean, his offense is...
He's not an incredible defender. He's not even good.
I didn't say he was, but
he's an incredible basketball player. He's an incredible offensive basketball player.
But
I don't know if you knew this or not, but they don't switch the teams out when you change sides of the field.
Sure, but I don't know if you knew that or not, but sometimes you can be so good at one end that you're still a net positive by a lot.
He'll never win a ring.
He was literally 3 games away from that 2 years ago, so I don't know how you could possibly say that.
On a better team, there's no reason to believe the Lakers are going to improve at all.
I mean, they'll have a ton of cap space once LeBron's gone. We'll see what happens. But
if he's gone.
I mean, and the Lakers always find a way, especially if they have a star player, always find a way to be in the mix. I don't know how you could possibly say that, but anyways, I just think
Well, you
that
know what's funny? People like to say, "Well, who's going to ring first? This guy, this guy, this guy." Chances are none of them.
that's
You know,
probably
argument
true.
to do.
Absolutely,
There have been a lot of great players in this league that don't win
because
rings,
a
and
ring is more
Luka's going to be
valuable
one of
now
them.
than it ever has been.
And Luka's going to be one of them.
It's possible, but I don't. I mean, sure, but
All right, our
it
number
wouldn't
one
be.
is the Thunder. We could beat that to death.
It won't be his fault if he
Yeah,
doesn't.
number one's the Thunder. We got
So
that. Okay.
yeah, no,
One other thing I
absolutely,
want to talk about before we do trivia.
yeah,
Been a little nostalgic lately with the great Russell Westbrook. Um, just want to shout out to Brody. It has been it was remarkable the games we got to watch him play in Oklahoma City. He is the hardest working the guy. I've never even Jordan, those guys. I mean, they played hard every game, right? But I don't think we've ever seen a player be so underappreciated in his time as Russell Westbrook when it comes to just how hard he plays on the court. And he always gets this bad rap for being a bad teammate, but his teammates don't say that. Like, this is just a weird narrative that's
I
been
don't
in the
know that
media.
anybody call. I don't know that most people at this point call him a bad
The
teammate. I
media
think
does.
that
The media has
no, no, no,
historically.
no. Historically, I don't think at this point anybody calls him a bad teammate. I think that people say that he is on the court a hard person to play with in the sense of like
I I actually
his
heard an interesting take on this the other
his
day, which is
play
what
is
got me
very
thinking
hard
about it.
to mold to.
What what I did do is I heard a take, and I can't remember, it might have been KG, the other day kinda talking about Russ, and it was one of those things where we would be talking about Russell Westbrook as one of the greatest guards of all time if he didn't play the point guard position because you expect that position to protect the ball a little better, right? Like, when you look at his turnovers per game,
Sure.
Luka's averaging more than him this year, right? There are guys that do that, but because they're not the point
No.
guard, they don't quite get the same heat for
Yes,
it.
of course, Luka Doncic is averaging more than him this year. Russell Westbrook doesn't play near the
Let
minutes,
me
and
finish my freaking thought. Why are you so defensive of Luka?
I'm not, but I'm just that's an absurd statement. One of them is
My point is, I was trying to make a
averaging
point about
34, and
I
one
was
of them is
making
averaging
a
like
point about
12.
KG's point, which is we would be talking about Russell Westbrook as one of the best guards of all time if he didn't play the point guard position. Now, he was also making the point that to not argue that he's one of the best point guards to ever play this game is ridiculous. He's has
Yeah, I
more
mean
points than any
he's up
point
there.
guard in history. He's averaged triple double for 4 straight years, and it was funny because I think it was KG. It was either KG or Paul Pierce. I thought it was KG though. Was making the secondary point of everybody likes to say he's a stat chaser and blah blah blah. If other guys could do it, they would do it. And the guy that KG was talking to, it might have been Pierce, was like, I couldn't do it. I don't have the energy for it. Like, the fact that he's done those things. So anyway, my overall point about Russell right
I don't
now,
think there's many guys that could do it, but I think that in some seasons where you look at guys that have gotten close to say that one guy couldn't average one more assist and one more rebound a game is kind of I mean like Luka hasn't
that's
done it
another
yet.
82. It's not
Sure,
just saying one more a game. That means you have to get 82 more of them.
sure, over 82 games, right? But
I understand that, but to
um,
act like guys wouldn't do it if they could do it, like, come on. My point is this.
not to say
My
that they
point
wouldn't do it, but to say that like
weird. I did not expect you to be arguing this because it wasn't even about an argument. I was
okay,
making a point that I'm nostalgic about Westbrook. He's underappreciated in his time.
absolutely,
We watched him play live so much. The energy he brought, he could bring down the house at any point.
yeah,
One of the most explosive, most athletic point guards ever. Was he the best shooter all the time? No. Did he go in out of
pretty
control
poor.
sometimes? Huh?
That's a pretty poor, but yeah,
That's not exactly fair,
for
but whatever.
based on
Um,
averages,
the reality is, did he go in and out of control sometimes? Yeah, but he was so explosive it was like hard to control him.
almost gamely. Like
Right?
sometimes it would
Like
work out, sometimes it wouldn't, but he was
right.
out of control either way.
But the reality is you never questioned his effort. You never questioned his love for the game. You never questioned his will to win.
Absolutely.
And I just think he's underappreciated in his time. I wonder how much better Denver would be this year had they signed him again. Um,
I don't think that makes a big difference. I mean, maybe minor, but I don't think that's a
I don't know. He's one of those players, and right now, and it's maybe it was the market for a while. I don't know. SGA's in the same boat right now. Now he's a better player, a better shooter, and more efficient scorer for sure. I don't know about all around better, but
he's a better player.
uh, certainly is an efficient scorer, and he's a really good defender. I'm not gonna argue that point. But what I'm saying is that Shea is underappreciated in his time right now too.
Absolutely.
Everybody makes it about these damn free throws, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Luca averages 3 more a game. No one's talking about it.
I would
So
say that Shea is more underappreciated as a whole than Russell Westbrook is, because I do believe that Shea is that much better of an all-time talent. As much as I love Russ, I
yeah,
do believe that
parts of it going for sure.
I
Anyway,
do
the
almost all
overall
of it.
point is I think people are going to look back at Russ and view him much differently a couple of years after retirement.
Maybe. I don't know that they will, just because of the current sentiment
I would
of it.
urge anybody that's happens one of the 3 people watching this right now, um, go watch some clips of Russell.
That
And
doesn't do it justice, though. Go watch a whole
it
game.
doesn't
Just pick
it
pick game
doesn't, but
47 of any year.
just look
It'll
at
look
some
the
of the
same
plays
as
where he explodes around guys and
yeah,
dunks over the biggest guys on the court at
yeah,
6'4". Like,
yeah,
he's just an incredible player. He was incredible to
absolutely.
watch. I I just respect him a ton. I think he's also, like, a great father, a great person. Anyway, I've
He
been
does
nostalgic about
his
lately.
his temper tantrums kind of piss me off sometimes, though.
I
As
mean, Luka
a
does it every damn play.
I'm not saying in game. I don't really care about that in game necessarily. That can kind of get annoying, but I don't really care in game. I'm saying in the sense of I love Russ, and I just think that a lot of times he doesn't get out of his own way. Kind of like what you're saying. He's underappreciated, but he doesn't do himself any favors, in the sense of like anytime, and this has always been him. I
It's
mean,
one of the
like,
things I respect about him. He doesn't
hold
give
on,
a shit what you think.
no, I
He just
some
wants to play.
to some degree. I think, but anyways, I think that kind of what I'm saying is he's always been this way. Like when he was at peak of his powers, he shrugged off what anybody said. And he still does, but I think that now it's a little bit different. Because he's not at the peak of his powers anymore. What I'm saying is that, like, there have been a couple times this year. There was one pretty recently where like they were questioning him and like
I
asking
saw it. I
about.
liked what he did.
Well, I don't, in the sense of,
He was trying to
because,
make it, how can you play with all these shitty players?
well, that's not
That was
exactly
kind
what
of the
he.
question.
That's not. I
I
mean,
I know
not
it wasn't
not
the exact
really,
question. That's what
but
they were alluding to,
no,
and he
but
was
eh,
protecting
but
his
but
teammates,
but but the point was, and I
especially
I
we're now
really,
in the NBA.
yes, I'm aware of that. I
Safety
really
school.
I really liked his response, the reporters, in the sense of Russ started getting combative, and he was like, "Y'all are literally the worst team in
I would call it
basketball."
I would call it protective.
Well, I mean, he was a little not combative, but he was I would say that he was avoiding the question to a fault, in the sense of the reporter's response was, "Y'all are literally the worst team in basketball. Is it not fair to criticize you?" And Russ was basically like, "No, you're not in the room working with us. Like, well, that's dumb. You're still the worst team in basketball. Like, you're bad."
Anyway,
Um, so I think
he's not
that
I guess his point was he hasn't been, and he's not gonna push his teammates under the bus.
no, for sure. But I guess my point is just that,
LeBron would
like,
say, "Oh, yeah, this team is shit." That's what LeBron would say.
anyways, I guess my point is that
Is that what you'd prefer?
Um, no, I would prefer him to answer honestly, in the sense of like everybody has shortfalls and like the team hasn't been good, and he's been part of that, sure, but like the
But
team
everybody
hasn't.
knows that. So it's a dumb question.
Maybe, but I guess my
Unless you're gonna
point is,
push what the reporter is trying to do is get you to be no newsworthy by pushing a teammate under the bus. If you
I
just
mean,
say, "Yeah, we haven't been very good, but we're working hard," everybody already knows that.
well, then end it
The
there.
whole part hold on. The whole part of Russell's correct in the sense The reporter's just looking to drag something out. Russ is like, I'm not playing that game.
Maybe. But then he was
That's
like,
it.
he was also
There's no
like,
other reason to ask the question that you already know the answer to. Yeah, they're terrible.
sure, but the point was that he was trying to ask like nuanced questions about how they play and like how they could improve and that kind of thing. And Russ was just shutting it down. And he was like,
Oh,
okay,
because the
so
answer is better players, but Russ isn't going to say that.
sure. But I guess my point is that he was like, so am I not allowed to criticize the worst team in the league? And like, yeah, you
Yeah, you
can.
can, but don't ask me to do it. That's
Sure.
what Russ was saying. Yeah, you can, but don't ask me to do it.
But I think that like at his peak, Russ also did that too, in the
I don't
sense
know
of
how we got into this.
like
I was
he
trying
was
to do a tribute to Russell Westbrook, and you turned it into a bash Russell Westbrook session.
no. But in the sense of like he was the MVP of the league, and we were still a 6 seed, and like people were trying to ask like, okay, well, but what's wrong with the team? Like the success, we lose in the first round, and he's just like, he acts the same way, and it's like, okay, well, it's fair to ask the
I
question
know.
that
I
we
mean, I
lost in
guess
the
my
first
question
round.
to you is: would you prefer he handle it like LeBron James would?
I think
Yeah, throw
that,
my team.
well, I mean that's unfair, but anyways,
It's not unfair. He does it all the time.
I think that there are ways to have constructive conversation that's like valid without
But my
necessarily
point is,
pushing your
and I
teammate
think the
under the
way
bus.
Russell looks at it is, you know the answer to the question. You're asking because you want me to say something controversial, so you have something to report on a 15-win team.
That's fair.
There's no other reason to ask that question.
I just think the vibe of it is really what I'm saying.
But I think
Like
Russell's just smart enough to
I
know what he's
don't
trying to do.
dislike necessarily the content of what he said. I think that the way he said it wasn't great.
All right.
It's kind of like
Generational
one of those
beast.
things like when mom gets mad at you and like it's like or a teacher or whatever, and it's like it's not what you said, it's how you said it. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Same kind.
Whatever.
Anyways. All right, that's all we got today. So thanks for listening if you're still here.
Love you, Russ. Tristan hates you.
No, I love you, Russ. I've literally got your signed basketball right here. You can't see it, but it's over here. I've got a literal painting of your face on my wall. Like, he can chill. I've got an MVP poster of you back here. You can't see it, but it's there. Point being, I love you, Russ.
Love the Brody.
You'll never be Shea.
Stop.
Unfortunately. He's
Oh,
not. Shea bought us
okay.
a ring.
Leave.
You'll never be Shea, but I love you, Russ. Thank you. All right. That's all we got. Give us a like, give us a sub, interact with us, share us. Please. Got it. Peace.